Kun Weerasak, even though the parliament is not in session, but we know that the senators continue to work behind the scenes, right? But except that you don't
Right.
have face-to-face meetings with your colleagues. But so how do you cope yourself and your colleagues in the Senate? How do you cope with how have you coped with the work from home measure so far?
The work from home part can only apply to things like sending opinions, having meeting on the telephone calls and Zoom like this or other network. But also there has been quite a few cases that we have to literally, physically appear at the parliament, at the Senate congressional meeting, is the committee.
Committee
And
meeting,
those of them last month during April was mostly about the confidential meeting. Therefore, we can't do it over telephone lines or software. We have to be there, but we keep our distance apart. Make sure that everybody wear masks, and only this month that we have resumed most of the function almost regularly. But we do not invite advisor, secretary to join the meeting. We only have those of the full senatorship in the room so that we can keep distancing.
Yeah. And Senator,
yesterday, yes.
Sorry. Senator Weerasak, we know that tourism industry is the first to be hit by COVID-19
and the last to get out.
Yeah, and up until now, no way out. So what do you see the situation overall?
Three things that we can spot. First, it is that we don't expect that it will resume normal until the very end of this year, that we might be able to see some of the international travelers coming back in. But before that, we will see more of the Thai travelers, the domestic traveler who wants to go places, a little bit more. But again, it's not going to be the same normal that we have seen ever. Many international airlines, big one like Emirates, said that they don't even positively see it coming back in the next 3-4 years. So I think this is the time where we can really sit back and start rethinking about what do we want to do with the destination, with the business and the people. And that's exactly the thing that I've been talking about in the last couple of years, that we want to go not only going to quality tourism, but we want to go to sustainability tourism. Whereas when we want to talk about sustainability, tourism is supposed to be a tool, not the goal itself. That's the first thing that I would like to mention. Second thing is that we have seen in the last 2 months that many destinations, those natural resources, the habitat, animals, marine mammals return, fish return, the reef look nicer than ever. So we see that without tourists flocking around in too crowded, we also gain something back, which is worthless, is priceless. I'm sorry. And the third thing is that at the moment we are looking at how should we be able to adapt and have not only the government sectors but also and mostly is the private sector to be able to go through this dark tunnel and come out with a clearer thinking of sustainability. But yes, the cash flow issue is at its peak point now.
It seems the dark tunnel must be quite dark, and if we get out, I think we need lots of money, lots of money, lots of spending from tourists. And especially we rely a lot on Chinese tourists. Do you think the first phase of tourism industry to revive, should we try to welcome Chinese tourists back to Thailand?
Eventually, those who don't have to fly far, like ASEAN traveler, domestic traveler, North Asia traveler will probably come back first. It depends on what the regulations and rules and understanding from destination to destination that can make an agreement before anyone can get on board the plane of what are the rules and what are expected, what can be expected before one to take the journey. Well, I don't think that we should rush into that just because we need the money only, because the second wave of spread has been seen in other area in the world as already. Therefore, we have to be cautious, and we want to make sure that with the reopening of some certain area in Thailand, in some province, let's see how it comes first.
Yeah. Dr. Weerasak, you talk about sustainability of tourism, right? But if you talk to people in the tourism industry, even if you talk to the tourism minister, I mean, who is the man right now, I mean, they always talk about numbers, right? Visa, free visa, I mean, visa on arrival to attract even more tourists, as if we don't have enough tourists now. But so where do you suggest we should start so that we can seriously, I mean, rethink this tourism strategy and then really, I mean, move toward, I mean, sustainability tourism?
Before I left the office almost a year ago, one thing that I have left behind is the new law that is already in place. It's gone through the parliamentary process, and it allows the government to put on a collection of some tax that to be collect from the international travelers who are coming into the kingdom, and use those money not only to refurbish place that has been ruined or been overcrowded, but also to buy insurance to cover all of those 30-40 million international visitors who come into the kingdom, because we never have that law in place before. So I got that done. And now, during the Covid-19, there has been the regulation in place already by the aviation business saying that no one can enter into the kingdom without buying or showing a proof that they have a proper, not visa, but also health insurance to cover themselves. Therefore, this has been started. Although the number is still very small of the incoming travelers at the moment, but if we can continue to keep this rule on, we'll get used to it. And the people who are coming here will start to get used to it. It's just like when we try to go into Europe, applying for Schengen visa, we will have to buy included of the price of insurance to go every time. And that's the first step that we can take. Second is that I'm glad that the current administration has agreed to this direction, that the Minister of Natural Resource has announced that he will have at least 3 months closing down for the national park in the country. Not all at the same time, but each park has its different style and different time and natural time that they look at. So it's coming far into place that policy like this can be adopted from many other departments and also from community as well.
And Senator Weerasak, I know that it's not good to talk about figure or to be too concerned with the figure or income from tourists only. But to develop into sustainable tourism or green tourism, it means the whole supply chain in tourism industry will be affected, from hotels, small and medium-sized businesses So what's the strategy for those to adjust themselves if the country is moving into new sustainable tourism?
It's pretty much like talking about diet. When you get too heavy, you might start to think about, well, I'm going to consume less. If you start consuming less, you might use many strategy that fit yourself. But at least we don't look at a big bowl of soup or a big piece of steak. We start to aim to something smaller. Therefore, the figure should be aimed smaller as well. And let's see of how the income that came in will be fairly treated and fairly distributed through the whole range of supply chain. Make everybody get a little bit of it, not a lot of it, or sometimes it only stick to a group of part of the supply chain that get most of it, and the rest do not get merely enough. Therefore, some different people have different approach. Some people use smaller spoon, funny to say, but they said it worked for them. So the supply chain of the tourism industry is fairly long. We are talking about 3-4 million people in this supply chain, and they have different way of getting themselves slimmer. Therefore, it's far too early to tell them what to do. But at least we know, and we now must accept the fact that we can't aim to the same amount of number that we have been enjoying in the last 10 years.
Dr.
When you get
Weerasak,
the fact in, then you start to think differently. And it also not the condition of how easy one can fly into the country without visa that can attract people, because it's not only the supply chain that is affected, but the demand side is also affected. People start to think more carefully of where they want to go, what they want to do, and who they want to meet. They want to be, of course, the sanitary issue is going to be one of the top priority before they go anywhere. They want to make sure that their safety is good, and they want to make sure that the communication can be connected even before they commit their plan of traveling.
Senator Weerasak, the pandemic has certainly put under the spotlight the economic and social inequality in the country. Why millions of people are struggling to meet ends meet, right? These daily wage workers trying to survive, and there are others who can work from home in the comfort of their air-conditioned homes, and then. But as a member of the Senate Committee dealing with poverty and social inequality, right, Kun Weerasak? So what have you learned from this crisis, and what kind of lesson that you think you can get from it, and then sit down and talk to members of the committee, and then come up with some ideas on how to the lessons that you have from this pandemic, so that we can better prepare for the next crisis. Right.
From the very start of the pandemic, we have been issuing our announcement suggestion to the government, local government, central government, and governor, that let's try to help the supply chain intact, keep them there as long as possibly can, first. Second is workers in this industry are very crucial. Not only there are vast amount of them, but also they will be the people who has the skill to be able to entertain those who need services. And those who need services may not at this moment are the international travelers, but it is the people in Thailand itself. Look at Singapore Airlines. They put their air crew and air stewardess to come and work to take care of people who are in need, of the Singaporean in need in their own island. So the hospitality management that has already been in place in their heart, be able to help. And now we see during the return of the Thai overseas coming back to Thailand, now they use the Thai tourism bus, they use the Thai hotel, they use the Thai hospitality management, and they also use the Thai cooking facilities from restaurants and hotels to treat many of the group are coming back and has been successfully done so. So the government money paying out is directly back into the system. This is not about big money. It is about to make sure that they feel they know the value that they have. And that is the first period. The second period I would like to mention is that during the spending of the money that we borrow in to spend in the community, we said that this is one of the best time to refurbish, to do the friendly design for all in the community. Because whether we have international traveler or not, we are moving into aging society, and we will have children, we have all kind of age and requirement. Therefore, this little money into this little community done by the work of this little man, little woman who knows what they want, handrails and slope, that kind of thing, will be useful for our community. This will not require big conglomerate or companies from outside of the community to come and pour the cement and put on a handrail. No, it's about their own people doing something good for their own community with the small money. Now, this is what at least I'm very grateful that the government has listened to this part, and they have agreed and made an announcement that at least these 400,000 million baht that they borrow will be spent on this kind of activity in the community. They're not talking about big project. So this is the second thing. The third thing is that soon enough, the resume of traveling domestic is going to happen. We want to make sure that this is a good training. Make sure that people get to understand what they are expect when they go places, when they sit in the restaurant, when they go to hotel, when they go to the beach. But at least you see the situation that has happened last week when Bang San Beach reopened. Only one day, and then we see a lot of trash left behind. And that's mean, don't even think about international traveling coming in. Just think about the locals who will reappear, but they cannot be the same behavior anymore. Let's make this an exercise that we train ourselves, train the host, train the guests to make sure that now we know what we should do with this opportunity.
So it's very tough challenge for the whole industry, and probably even to make the strategy to focus on domestic tourism, it's tough challenge as well.